Today we're going to talk about the civilization for 2022. Now, this video is going to be before the update that is going to come, which we don't know when they're going to release the update. Sometime this year, they are going to be releasing a brand new civilization. If you guys know what civilization will it be, I would like to encourage you guys to leave it down in the comment section below, because I don't know what is it going to be. Some people have speculated that it's going to be like Egypt, which is absolutely possible since we have Cleopatra here. I don't know if there's other Egyptian commander. Is it Ramses as another Egyptian commander? But if they do Egypt, I think that's going to be very interesting, and that's going to make a lot of people very happy in the game. So today we're going to talk about the best civilization in Rise of Kingdoms as of now, 2022, the beginning of this year. So we're going to talk about the 5 best civ and the 3 worst civilization that is in the game. Now, any of these statements that I'm going to make today is going to be based on my opinion, and you and I might have some differences of opinion. So I do encourage you, if you find some of this and you don't agree with it, leave it down in the comment section below. Have some good explanation and why you think it is what it is. So don't bash. You know, this is my opinion, and we're going to give you guys my best of my ability to give you the proper information of my assessment. So my name is Shinchi42. If you're new to Rise of Kingdoms, consider subscribing, turn your notification on. If you love this game, follow us. Check out our TikTok as well, as we upload some videos there for Rise of Kingdoms. And of course, if we're uploading other contents besides Rise of Kingdoms, I do hope that you are supporting our content as well, as it also helps the channel to grow. All right. So today we're going to talk about the 5 best civilizations first, and then we're going to move into the 3 worst civilization that I think is the worst and best here in 2022. First thing that I want to suggest to you guys is China civilization. This civilization will have an increased troop defense by 3%, action point recovery by 5%, and building speed by 5%. Now, why is this in the best category? This is in the best category because this is going to be the best starter civilization. The reason why this is deemed to be a best starter civilization, because you're going to be able to obtain Commander Sun Tzu. Your starting commander is right here. And by having Sun Tzu as your starting commander, it will allow you to have a very formidable, strong commander in the battlefield, because Sun Tzu is one of the best high-tier epic commanders in the game. Sun Tzu has an AoE function as well, and Sun Tzu works well with any commanders that you can pair him up with. Really good commander to start off with, and will really help you to get your progress within the game. Now, with the civilization as well, we have 5% building speed. As you know, in the early stages of the game, you are going to be building a lot of buildings, and you need to upgrade that as high as you can, as fast as you can. With China civilization, this will help you to succeed to getting into that point. Now, one thing that I want to mention as well is that when you do your starting civilization, you will get a civilization change. And when you get your civilization change, then you will then need to change your civilization according to the next steps that you want your progress to be. You have to decide from then on, after this, whether you want to be an infantry player, archer, or cavalry. So today we're going to talk about a little bit more civilization, and moving on to the next civilization that I deemed to be one of the best civilization is going to be the Vikings. The Vikings is really good civilization to have, not just for starter. Honestly, if you want to start, I would say China, but this is going to be more of the end game civilization or mid game civilization. Vikings increase infantry attack by 5%, counter damage by 3%, and troop load by 10%. In the beginning of the game, maybe mid-game, you're going to be doing a lot of raiding, right? A lot of looting. And maybe even the end game, you're going to be doing a lot of that. So if you are an infantry player and you are, thinking about having a best, infantry civilization, going for Vikings is really good. You have the Berserker units, which is really good as well. But the best thing about this is that you're getting infantry increase attack by 5% and then counter attack damage by 3%. One of the things that I want to highlight here by having this is that the counter attack damage by 3% is good, because if you're running infantry, you're very tanky already. And in the battlefield, you're going to get swarmed. And when you get swarmed in the open field, you're going to use and maximize this benefit of the counter attack damage by 3%. So that's one of the biggest things I would say for the Vikings. Next thing, Arabia. This is one of the best civilizations as well, but there's a catch for this one though. Increased cavalry attack by 5%, damage dealt to barbarians and other neutral units by 10%, damage dealt by rallied armies 5%. Now, this civilization is really great, but it's not for everybody. If you're free to play, you might as well scratch this. This is going to be great for rally captains or the whales. So this is going to be more of the pay-to-win civilization. So if you are considered yourself to be a pay-to-win, you should definitely have Arabia. You should check yourself. But at the same time, this is really benefiting the cavalry. So if you're a whale cavalry, then this is what you want. And again, this is basically saying that if you are the captain, right? If you're the one who's leading most of the rallies, because you do get some benefit when you're leading rallies. Next thing that we're going to talk about is the Ottoman Empire. Now, this is another really good civilization, which I currently use right now. Increased archer health, which is really good. Archer health is very low. Having 5% increase is great. Troop marching speed, 5% allows the archers to move around. Active skill damage by 5%. Now, you don't necessarily need to be an archer main, but it would be really great if you are an archer main, because you get active skill damage 5%, which is huge for every single commander except for like Richard Martel, those kind of commanders, because they're not really having any active skill damage. Troop marching speed allows you to work around the battlefield much better, mobilizing there. Ottoman Empire is really great, and this is something that I really like when it comes to the archer civilization. So if you're an archer main, Ottoman Empire is the best, much better than the Britain. We've done testing of that one, and Ottoman Empire definitely beats Britain civilization. The next one that we're going to talk about is the Germany. Now, this is going to be for cavalry main players as well. Increased cavalry attack 5%, troop training 5%, and action point recovery by 10%. Now, this is great for free to play and as well as pay to win. I talked about Arabia earlier, but this is another option for players, for mid players as well, right? If you're not really doing a lot of the rallies, then you can definitely go for Germany. You're getting that, troop training 5%, helping you to produce more troops. In the long term, everything adds up, especially if you're powering up huge, that's going to help you a lot. Action point recovery, great, because if you really want to grind some barbarians, especially when you get into the kingdom versus kingdom situation, you're going to be able to get more rewards from defeating barbarians or maybe barbarian forts. Now, let's talk about the 3 worst civilization that I think is worse in Rise of Kingdoms. But here's the thing. We all have our differences of opinion, and I know when we talk about something negative within the game, people kind of get touchy because they're using that civilization. But this is, again, my opinion, and if you have a different of opinion, I would highly recommend to leave it down in the comment section below and let us know why you think this way. So one of the worst civilizations that I think is, Spain. Increased cavalry defense by 5%. Increased gain from barbarians and other neutral units by 10%. Resource production by 20%. Now, I see the benefit of this in the early stages of the game, but late stages of the game, experience gained from barbarian and other neutral units, negligible. Resource production, pretty much negligible, really. Just do your farming, honestly. You get more from that. So great for early game, bad for mid to late game. Right? It's honestly, even early game, this is not the best because of the resource production, right? I mean, great for the gaining of barbarians and other neutral units from experience, but honestly, if you just really grind the holy sites and do the guardians, you will definitely get insane amount of XP. All right, so hopefully that's a very constructive feedback that I'm giving you guys. If you are using Spain, I would highly consider that you do a civ change, because this isn't going to be the most optimal for your setup. Next thing, Japan. Now, I did start as Japan, so most of the players would, you might say that, hey, Shin, you started with Japan as well. But here's the thing. As we grow into the game, we learn and we get better and we, increase our knowledge. Japan, not the best, right? Even trying to get for Kosanoki. Increased troop attack by 3%, scout marching speed by 30%, and resource gathering speed by 5%. Now, here's the thing. Long time ago, they changed this. This wasn't used to be the buff of Japan, and it's also been changed. I don't even remember what it was before. If somebody's OG here and remember what the buff of Japan is, I would definitely love to know, again, what it was. But here's the thing. Japan, one of the worst buff for civ choices, honestly. Scouting marches helps in the early game. If you were inexperienced like me when I was starting out, trying to figure things out before, I was like, oh yeah, scouting march, I can do this and I can save time in getting to one place to the other, clear the fog. But honestly, if you really just put time, you're definitely gonna get it. You're gonna finish all of that. It's it's a matter of time. Even me with doing a 30% scout marching speed, I didn't really finish the fogs because I don't have the time to do it. So if you have the time, it doesn't matter what scouting marching speed is going to be. Resource gathering speed by 5%, not bad, but not the best as well. Especially, this game is really more for PvP and you're trying to build a setup for war, for battle. This might be a good civilization for farmers. If you're creating a farm account, this is a good civilization for that. But for the main account, I wouldn't say this is the best civilization. I'd say this is one of the worst civilization to pick for the main account. You're getting 3% increased attack for troops. That's all the troops, but 3%. Relatively low. Focus onto the main troop instead, and then, work on a city team buff instead. Now, when I talk about city team buff, always focus onto your main setup. Like for me, I'm main archer, so mainly 4 or 5 marches of my setup is archers. Therefore, I need to figure out something that is going to benefit more towards to the archers. Next thing that I think that is quite useless and one of the worst one as well is Byzantium. Now, this might be debatable. Increased cavalry health by 5%, stone gathering by 10%, hospital capacity by 15%. Now, here's the thing. You might say that, yeah, it's huge, giving me hospital capacity. But honestly, if you pay attention to your hospital, you don't get, zeroed, right? And if you're in the battlefield, you just pay attention. There's warnings now within the game, and you clean up the hospital using the help advantage, right? Day to day, you clean it up with help during war. You're never going to fill up your hospital. And when you do, then that's an issue with the player itself, honestly. So Byzantium is a great civilization for players that are not pro enough to pay attention in their hospital capacity. But most pro players will probably not be using the Byzantium setup in here. I want to highlight one more thing. This isn't going to be good or bad, but this is a decent civilization to change to if you are trying to research for tier 5. So Korea, just keep this in mind, has the hospital capacity 15%, but the big thing that you're trying to get here is the research speed plus 3%, because this is going to add up if you have runes and other stuff to help you to get progress into getting your tier 5 unit. So Korea, consider this when you're trying to push for tier 5, switch to Korea and have more efficiency with your speed ups, because we know that the struggle in this game comes from the speed up as well as resources. With that being said, rockers, thank you guys for watching. I hope this video was actually fruitful and helpful to help you to succeed if you are new or old player in Rise of Kingdoms this 2020. Good luck. I'll see you again next time. Don't forget to subscribe and turn your notification on. Adios.